Hello, everyone. Thank you for sticking with me if you're here on this third part of the big bad Somali pirates. And I was just showing you about them having the biggest army in Africa, backed by the U.S. and the Russians. And just right here, it says following World War II, although Somalis aided the Allied powers in their struggle against the Axis powers, Britain retained control of both British Somaliland and Italian Somaliland as protectorates. So they helped, right? They were colonized mostly in the north, Somalia, by the British. And what happens? Oh, guess what? Well, if any of you people know that Prescott Bush helped fund the Nazis and were funded by the British, and the Nazis weren't really all that pissed off with the British. It was all just a circle, right? So the British and the U.S. helped fund the Nazi war machine. So I don't buy any of that, rewritten history crap. But I will say that look at this. So the Somalis aided and helped their oppressors, their conquerors, and then Britain just came back and said, "Hey, we'll just take our land back." And in November 1949, the UN granted Italy trusteeship of Italian Somaliland, which was formerly fascist Italy. And so you can see what's going on here. You have here in 48, under pressure from World War II allies and at the dismay of the Somalis, the British returned to the Haud, an important Somali grazing area that was presumably protected by the British treaties with Somalians from 1880s. And the Ogden to Ethiopia, based on a treaty they signed in 1897, in which the British ceded Somali territory to the Ethiopian Empire in exchange for his help against the plundering by Somali clans. And now they call them pirates, right? Very important stuff here, guys. British Somaliland became independent on June 26, 1960, and the former Italian Somaliland followed suit 5 days later. 5 days later, on July 1st, 1960, the two territories united to form the Somali Republic, albeit with boundaries drawn up by Italy and Britain. So they, draft a constitution in 1960, and then you got these revolutionary socialist parties and Salvation Democratic Front, and it was violently overthrown. And so now you're forcing democracy on these people. And what does that lead to? It leads to the Somali Civil War. In 1991, we saw great changes in Somalia. Of course we did. Remember, people, this is the new form of conquering. This is a new form of colonization, and we have it in the United States here as well. So I'm not just dogging on Somalia here or overly sympathizing. I'm saying that I'm showing you this because this is happening everywhere, and this is happening in the United States, and not just third world countries or second world countries or first world countries. It says the Civil War disrupted agriculture and food distribution in southern Somalia. Go figure, because that's where all the traditionalists are, right? The northern part is the oil rich, is the rich in the grazing, because they don't really have much agriculture. It's mostly grazing, and of course they dominated that area too, as we just learned. And so it says the resulting famine killed about 300,000 people and caused the United Nations in 1992 to authorize the limited peacekeeping operation. So see, it's just like Haiti, right? You kill a bunch of people. I'm not saying they directly killed a bunch of people, but I'm just saying they were occupied by the French as well, and then the British, and now the United States. So this is all eugenics, and it is a form of colonization. And it says here that it is a competition that used to be fought out with arrows and sabers. Now it is fought out with AK-47s. They're competing for water and pastures and cattle. And this was the last ambassador of the United States who said that. It's like, well, do you think? Do you really think? So now the UN's got to come in and they got to save, right? The UN, which is basically what? The Western establishment who created this mess, is going to come in and be the saviors at the point of a gun. So what do? And this is my biggest point, is that they use violence to stop violence. And anyone who knows or is into philosophy or libertarianism or anarchism, they know that you cannot fight violence with violence. You can't do it. You can't bring peace at the point of a gun. I think we all know that. Yet people in the United States, I hear them make their comments on, oh, well, we have to be there. We have to stop the pirates, right? There's a little territory. There's the blue is the pro-Western establishment. These are the Yemenis people, like the people in Iraq, like the people in Pakistan, like the people in Afghanistan who want the foreign occupiers out, and we call them terrorists, we call them pirates, we call them whatever. And so you have these ignorant people in the United States and first world nations who do not know their history, and basically they just say, oh, well, we need to be there, right? So you got all these ships, all these big warships. You got, let's see here. You got the Soviet Union partnering with the U.S. and able to build the largest army in Africa. You got the creation of the transnational or transitional federal government in 2004. It's all the reestablishment of the military of Somalia, which now maintains a force of 10,000 troops. And it says that the Ministry of Defense is responsible for armed forces. The Somali Navy is also being reestablished with 500 Marines currently training in Mogadishu out of an expected 5,000 strong force. In addition, there's plans for reestablishment of the Somali Air Force with 2 combat planes already purchased. A new police force was also formed to maintain law and order, with the first police academy to be built in Somalia. So obviously it's trying to keep the peace with the point of a gun. But what I'm getting at here is they have the troops. Somali, I mean, these pirates are coming out, right, in these little skiff boats, and you got these humongous ships. They can see these little boats coming. They're towering way above these little ships on the surface, right, of the water. They can see these little boats coming with their little engines, and they got all these troops now, and it's just like, okay, well, either A, have the private freighters carry a 5-man private security team. You know, they're making millions of dollars here. Why can't they spend $40,000 per person per man and get 5 men to secure your damn ships yourself? You know, no, because the UN doesn't want that. Insurance companies and the bankers don't want that. You see, they want these pirates to be making these half-ass attempts to take over these ships, right? It's all a money-making scheme, and it's all about control. It has nothing to do with preventing piracy. Because you got all these ships right here, right? You got the all these ships that I said that have been coming in, Russia, China, Europe, European Union, all that. And they got all these ships, so you think when you see a little skiff boat hopping on the waves, you think that all these boats that have been congregating in the Gulf of Aden would just be like, you know, I don't know why I want to use this phrase, but, you know, they just, like a magnet, they've got nothing better to do, right? Because all those ships, the reason that they're there is for fighting piracy. So they, you know, there shouldn't really be a problem, whether it's the Somali's own army, which you've seen, they have their troops, they have, you know, albeit not the greatest, but they're European backed, they're British U.S. backed, they're Russian backed, so they have the northern government, which has the infrastructure to at least, you know, go out there and patrol your waters, you know, and allow these ships to have their own little private security force and defend themselves. But no, see, it's all about us having being able to justify our warships, not our warships, but all the superpowers warships being in the Gulf of Aden for whatever reason, whether it's to stage in Yemen and to attack Iran, which is most likely what it is, or if it is to look at a Stargate, an underground underwater base in the Gulf of Aden where there's magnetic anomalies that are going on. There's a lot of stuff going on in that area, and that's why I have to defend myself and by saying that we are not there for pirates. But when you see these stories about these pirates, just remember it's like South Park. It is exactly like South Park, where they're like, "Hup," and they just put their hands up. They're totally defenseless, these freighters, right? With these little old pirates, you know, who's, you know, trying to fund their little rebellion operation to get these conquerors, these colonists out of their country. So here we go. Danish forces free ship captured by pirates, and this is February 5th. Danish forces, special forces, disrupted a takeover by pirates of a cargo ship in the Gulf of Aden on Friday in a maneuver rarely undertaken by NATO warships. The crew of the Ariella said that they seen the skiff approaching their position in the Gulf of Aden early Friday morning with the 6 or 7 armed men firing at them, taking pot shots basically. So please everyone join me, and I will finish this story. It's not long. It's really only this long, but I just want to show you how ridiculous it really is. So join me with this 4th and final video.